She kicked his broken rib, expecting a scream, but he thanked her for fixing it. The battlefield smelled of burnt stone and iron. Shattered walls leaned against each other like wounded giants, and the air trembled with the distant echoes of collapsing towers. Kara moved like a shadow between the ruins, her boots crunching over shards of glass. She was hunting him, the human mercenary who had dared defy the Queen of Steel. She had seen him fight earlier, a blur of movement, striking with brutal precision until a war beast charge had hurled him into a wall. She had heard the sickening crack. One of his ribs, maybe more, was broken. She found him crouched beside the skeletal remains of a fountain, blood matting his shirt. He saw her and tensed, reaching for his blade, but his hand faltered halfway. "You're hurt," she said flatly, stepping closer. "Not your concern," he gritted out. Her golden eyes narrowed. "It is when you carry the Queen's orders in your pocket." She knelt before him, her hand on her dagger's hilt. He thought she was about to kill him, but instead she pressed her palm hard against his rib cage, feeling the shift beneath his skin. He hissed in pain. "Good," she murmured, still movable. Before he could react, she drew her boot back and slammed it hard into his side. The world flared white for him, agony exploding like shrapnel through his chest. His mouth open, ready to scream, curse, maybe even swing at her. But then something shifted inside him. The stabbing pain he'd felt with every breath was replaced by a deep, dull ache. His breaths came easier. "What the hell did you just—" He blinked at her, stunned. "Reset the rib," she said, wiping dust from her boot. "You'd have punctured a lung within the hour if I'd left it." He stared at her, bewildered, then managed a hoarse laugh. "I should thank you?" She smirked. "You should, yes." They didn't part ways. Kara insisted he was too slow to survive alone now, and he insisted she'd make too much noise without him. So they moved together through the splintered streets, dodging patrols of the Queen's silver-armored enforcers. "Why help me?" he finally asked as they picked their way through an alley littered with shattered banners. "Because," she said, glancing over her shoulder, "you're the only one who's gotten close enough to cut her once. And I want to see you do it again." He shook his head. "You're playing a dangerous game." "I'm still alive, aren't I?" That night, they took shelter in a crumbling watchtower. The moonlight bled through the cracks in the roof, painting her face in sharp silver lines. He could feel the throbbing in his ribs still, but each breath was steady. She was quiet for a long time, sharpening her dagger. Finally, she said, "My brother died from a rib like yours. He thought it was nothing until he drowned in his own blood. I don't leave injuries like that unfixed." He studied her in silence. "I'm sorry," he said at last. "Don't be," she replied, not looking up. "Just don't waste a breath I saved." By dawn, the streets boiled with soldiers. The Queen herself had descended to oversee the hunt. They were cornered before noon, driven into the marketplace, with the shimmering bulk of her throne mech blocking the exit. Kara leaned close to him. "One chance," she whispered. "When I move, hit her left side. The armor's weaker there." "You're insane," he muttered. "Better than dead," she said, and then she was already running. She leapt onto throne mech like a striking hawk, driving her blade between its plates. Sparks showered the square. The Queen roared, distracted just long enough for him to lunge forward, his sword biting deep into the gap Kara had opened. The mech screamed in steel and steam, and the Queen tumbled from her seat. For a breathless moment, the square was silent. Then the soldiers broke, some fleeing, others dropping their weapons. Afterward, they stood together among the wreckage. His ribs throbbed again, but the pain was nothing compared to the burn in his muscles. "You didn't have to stay," he told her. "I did," she said simply. "I kicked your rib. That makes you mine, until you can breathe without wincing. He laughed, shaking his head. That's the strangest oath I've ever heard. She smirked, the faintest shadow of warmth in her eyes. You'll live. That's all that matters. And as they walked away from the smoking city, he realized something. Her kick had done more than fix his rib. It had fixed his will to keep fighting.